in his mind for us as God revived him and breathed new life into him. Here is our minister and our brother, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. Let us receive him, Mosque Marya. Allahu Akbar! Allahu Akbar! Allahu Akbar! Allahu Akbar! All praise is due to Allah for the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. All praise is due to Allah. Allahu Akbar! Allahu Akbar!
In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful, we give him praise and thanks for his coming and for his raising up in our midst one to lead, teach, and guide us to the straight path of God, the most honorable Elijah Muhammad. I greet all of you, my dear brothers and sisters, with the greeting words of peace. Assalamu alaikum. I'm always thankful to Allah every time He blesses me to be able to come before you, to share with you some of that which the Honorable Elijah Muhammad shared with us of the wisdom of Allah. For the last few weeks, we have been dealing with the coming of the Mahdi, the Messiah, and the presence of Allah, God, in the world. All of the religious bodies that spring from the revealed word of Allah, the Torah, the Gospel, and the Quran, Muslims, Christians, and Jews are all expecting the coming of God at the end of the time of the rule of the enemy of God and the enemy of humanity, the devil or Satan. This language of the coming of God is strange for Muslims, because Muslims believe that Allah is always present. But in truth, the Holy Quran teaches us that Allah would give Satan a season to rule and to deceive as many as he would, and God would not interfere until the end of the season given to Satan. That season or time, we are taught, and the scholars of religion bear witness, was to be 6,000 years. We have arrived to the end of that time. So we should be scanning the horizon for the coming of this mighty one who would come and make manifest this satanic being and destroy his works. In order to understand such a marvelous event, the coming of God, we have to consult the scriptures of both Bible and Quran to see what these great books have to say about this mighty event. The Quran, as we said last week, refers to the days, 'days' 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 And we know that this is not speaking of a 24-hour period, but it is a time when his presence would produce clashing between truth and falsehood, and between the forces of good and the forces of evil on the earth. It is called in the Quran and in the Bible the Day of Judgment. What do you mean, Day of Judgment? In Eastern religions, they don't have any such thing as the preaching of an end of the world. None of the Far Eastern religions, they don't talk like that. But when you get to Judaism, Christianity, and Islam, you read of the end of a world, and it would be by fire. Is that right? Now, since it's not talking about the East, now Allah says in the Quran, he sent prophets to every nation. Every nation, he says, has received its warner. Yet the people of the East who have received guidance and warning from Allah never talk about the end of the world. But when you come to the West and the light of the prophets that started in the East and shone westward, you get this talk, the end of a world. Well, whose world is going to end? It's the Western world. It's the world of the white man. It is the power of the white people that they have exercised over the human family. That power is to be broken, and their world is to be destroyed by the coming, the presence, and the power of God. So the prophets set up a huge problem that would prove the presence of God. Since the devil's job is to deceive the people with regards to the reality of God, then God has to create a condition that would allow the people to know his presence. Well, how would he do this? What would he do? He would create an enemy that nobody could destroy but himself. And that enemy would create a condition in his people that nobody could solve but himself. So here you have in the Western world, or the white world, the Caucasian people coming out of Europe a little over 400 years ago, and having the freedom to go to every part of the earth, and everywhere they went, they found original inhabitants there. And they went in among those original inhabitants and slaughtered them and established among them a religion that they call Christianity. You didn't know anything about Christianity. It was a religion that had its start more in Europe, although there were Christians in Africa, there were Jews in Africa, but it was a different kind of religion among the Semitic people or the Asiatic people. But when Europe got a hold to it As the Europeans corrupted us, they corrupted the word of Almighty God. I'm going to go in weeks to come, inshallah, into the origin of these religions, so that you will not feel bad when we say to you Jesus didn't know anything about what you call Christianity. Now this may come as a shock to you, and I hope I'm not hurting your feelings in any way, because I have love for you and respect for you. But the greatest respect I have is for the truth. And I know it is only the truth that will set you free. Nowhere in the Gospels where they have the words of Jesus do you find the name Christian. It's not here. Nowhere in the writings or the sayings of Jesus does he say to the people, I am a Christian. He never said no such thing. Well, what is this that has been given to us and to the peoples of the world in his name? The Bible tells us that the followers of Jesus at Antioch were called Christians, and the name stuck. Some of you may be a little angry with me for what I said last week concerning the cross. Please, you need to become a student now of what you have believed and never challenged. You need to become a student. You have never questioned the white man on what he gave you as a religion. It's time that you question him. It's easy to question Elijah Muhammad or question me, but I'm not the person that gave you the religion. I'm not your slave master. Why didn't you ask your slave master who punished you for being black? What kind of religion is this, Mr. Slave Master, that you are offering me? You never asked him no question like that. He just made you into what he wanted you to be. If your slave master was a Protestant, okay, then you were a Protestant. But you couldn't worship with him. Your church was in the field somewhere. And he is the one that made you a preacher. And you had to preach what pleased him. That's pretty rough stuff. No wonder you're still in bad shape. Because if you really knew Jesus, just the true knowledge of Jesus would free you and start you on the road to that which Jesus became. You have the right name, all right enough, and you have fallen in love with the man based on the beauty of the man that you read in the scriptures. But the enemy took the name and the man and painted him white and gave him to you. And everywhere that he gave you his image, the darker people that believe are suffering and are absolutely under the tutelage and mastery of the European white man. You can't deny that. And right now, as a Christian, you are not equal to your European white Christian brother. In fact, right now, you are trying to get your rights from your so-called white Christian brother. How could he be your brother and deny you what God intends for every human being, which is freedom, justice, and equality? So the coming of God, the coming of the Mahdi, the coming of the Messiah, whom Allah would make a messenger to the children of Israel, that's a great event. And whether you want to believe it or not, this Bible, from one cover to the other, is all talking about you. And when you understand that you are the major people of the book, when you read about Israel going into bondage, who do you think that is? Everywhere you read of a slave and a slave master in the past, you're reading a prophetic picture of yourself and your relationship to the government of America and the white people of the world. Now, some would like to call this hate teaching. We don't have any time for that. But if the truth makes you hate somebody, then your hatred is justified. Isn't that true? Now, don't tell me it's wrong to hate. Hate destroys the hater as much as the hated. That's more deceit. God hates the wicked. His hatred of the wicked don't destroy God. So the coming of God is to a specific people to accomplish a specific purpose. Respite me till the day when they are raised. You have been taught all your life that in the day of judgment, a trumpet would be blown, and the dead would rise from their graves. What kind of trumpet could be blown to wake up the people that are in the cemetery today, brother? I want you to use your common, natural sense. There was some troops on a troop ship, and they went out to sea, and a submarine blasted the ship with the troops on it, and the troops fell in the sea and died. Along came some small fish that began feeding on the troops that were on the ship that got blasted by the submarine. Then some big fish came along and ate the small fish that ate the troops that was on the troop ship that got blasted by the submarine. And the deep sea fishermen went out in the ocean and caught him some of those big fish that ate the little fish, that ate the troops that was on the ship that got blasted by the submarine. And then you came along and bought a pound or two of the big fish that ate the little fish, that ate the troops, that was on the ship that got blasted by the submarine. Now look, man, tell me where them troops coming from on the resurrection day? They're coming out of you? They're coming out of the fish? They're coming out of the water? Hell no. Your body came from the earth, and it's only a matter of time before you return to the earth. The resurrection of the dead is not talking about people in physical cemeteries. Get that out of your head. Nobody that ever died have ever come back and told you how sweet it was on the other side. And if it really was that sweet, why are you crying so much? Mama gone to a better place. Let me hurry up and go there too. You're going to try to stay here as long as you can, because it was a long time before you got here, and when you go, it'll be a hell of a long time, and we'll never see you again. Unless you can leave something behind you. Well, wait a minute, Farrakhan. The Holy Quran talks about the hereafter. Yes, it does. Shall we be raised again to life when we have become bones? Holy Quran said yes. The question you got to ask is, what does it mean? You say it means exactly what it says. Prove it. You can't prove it. I can prove that those that died don't come back. You prove that they do. That's your belief. You don't have any knowledge of it. Here the enemy has deceived you. Made you put your hope in a heaven in the sky while he worked you to death building a heaven for himself on the earth. No, brother, if you don't get your heaven right here now, you can forget it somewhere else. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad taught us reality. The thoughts and ideas of people live long after they are gone. The works of people live, if they're good works, long after they're gone. Those that built the pyramids, they're gone. The pyramids remain for us to study and grow from the wisdom of those that once were but no longer are. Life is a continuum. So the coming of Allah, God, Mahdi, Messiah, the presence of God in the world, is to produce what is called the resurrection of the dead. Okay? How? What you mean, resurrection of the dead? The Holy Quran says they have eyes, but they can't see. They have ears, but they can't hear. They have a tongue, but they can't speak. Blind, deaf, and dumb. The Bible says the same thing. When you got eyes, but you can't see. When you got ears, but you can't hear. When you have a tongue, but you can't speak. You are considered mentally, spiritually, dead. in need of resurrection. Resurrection means to rise up again. Something that was up is now down and must be raised up again. Your people were once masters of the earth. If you study any African history, you know that when the Caucasian was walking around in the hills and cave sides of Europe on his all fours, Africans had built civilization. Civilization did not begin in Europe, in Greece, or in Rome. It began in Africa, and it was Africans that brought wisdom to Greece. Check it out. But look at you now. You are the children of the builders of the pyramids. What have you built lately? You are the children of the great master builders, architects of the universe. Oh, come on, Farrakhan. How could Allah make man vicegerent? We stand in the place of Allah. If you are able to stand in the place of God, then you must be able to master the laws that govern what Allah created. Otherwise, you are unfit to stand in His place. The man that Allah made in the Quran called Adam, He asked the angels to bow down to Adam. Some of the scholars say the angels mean the forces of nature. Well, all right then. We'll take your scholarship. If angels here mean the forces of nature, and they were made to bow down and become subservient to the man that God made, that means that that man that God made had power to control those forces. You once had knowledge like that. You don't have that knowledge today. Why? Because you are dead. A dead man does not have what he had when he was alive. Go to any dead man. I don't care how great he was. I used to love Billy Eckstine, Sarah Vaughan. We are old timers, you know. And some of you rappers, you love Tupac, you love Biggie. Well, now you go to the grave. See if Biggie and Tupac can write any rap for you. Best thing you can do is study their rap and rap on till your end comes. But no dead man can do what he once did when he was alive. You are not able to do what you did when you were a living people, because the enemy's world and the enemy's technology has put the black man so fast asleep till he's looked upon by the prophets as being a dead human being. Dead mentally, dead morally, dead spiritually. And God said He would raise one from the dead and send that one to raise the others from the dead. You that are masons and shriners, you already understand that. Hiram was a master architect, but he got hit in the head. You are a master builder, but you got hit in the head by some ruffians. And they took you on a westerly course and buried you in the north country in a shallow grave. That's masonry. all Masonic secrets are built on you and what happened to you. That's why you've integrated everything else except the white Shriners and the white Masons. You're going to stay segregated because the secret of it all is you. And once you wake up to who you are, who they are, who God is, what time it is, then they can never rule you again. So the coming of God, according to the Bible, is out of the east to the west. And the coming of God is in the person of a human that is anointed with the power of God to exercise that power by the permission of Allah. It has to be a human to deliver you, as it was a human that enslaved you. Okay, I want you to look at this. Now, when I mentioned last week the book of Habakkuk says God came from Teman and the Holy One from Mount Paran, and his glory covered the heavens, and the earth was full of his praise. And it says, he stood, he, not it. He stood and he measured the earth. His brightness was as the light or the sun. Horns were coming out of his hand, but there was the hiding of his power. Now, I want us, Muslims, Christians, Jews, you don't know Master Farad Muhammad. You think we are in error for believing in him as Mahdi. Okay, then what I want you to do is give him a chance to tell you through Elijah Muhammad what he revealed. Then you go study. If he lied, then we can cast him aside. But if he told the truth, you're going to have to reason with this then. It says he stood and he measured the earth. Here's a man that came among us. And he taught us actual facts. Every week I'm coming with more books, but now that which is actual is existing, in fact or real, existing now, present, current. A fact is that which actually exists. It's reality, it's truth. Why did he give us actual facts? Because you can't build any building until you know the actual facts. The problem with us is we've been believing what others tell us, building our world on what they tell us, but the actual facts we may not be acquainted with. How could the enemy rule us if we had the same knowledge that he has, regardless to your degrees? He has never shared with you what he has of knowledge. That's why when you come out of college, you go to him and look for a job, because you are not prepared to make a job for yourself. Now, he stood and he measured the earth. Okay. He said the total area, and this is in 1930. 71 years ago. I want you to go back in time with me to what America looked like 71 years ago. and look at the phenomenal progress that America has made in 70 years. And it ain't because America is so smart. It is because the presence of somebody came to America that you refuse to honor, respect for coming to save you and me. Now, to make this subject even more potent, Farrakhan Muhammad was only among us 3 years and 4 or 5 months. That's all. He said he came to us from the holy city of Mecca. I don't know nothing about Mecca, never knew nothing about Mecca, till I heard Elijah Muhammad tell me about it. Now, to make this even more convincing, Farrakhan Muhammad comes to Detroit in a place called Black Bottom, where you live, in the deep ghetto. And Farrakhan Muhammad starts teaching, going door to door like a ordinary salesman. This is what is meant in the scripture when it says he made himself of no reputation and became obedient even unto death. What does that mean? Here's a man, you don't know nothing about that man. If it were not for Elijah Muhammad, we would know nothing about Farrakhan Muhammad. Now, who is this Elijah? I'm going to talk like this until I get you to study what Farrakhan Muhammad revealed to the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. Then you go take it to your scholars and see if they can defeat what he revealed to the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. He stood and he measured the earth. 71 years ago when he came, he taught us that the total area of the land and water of the planet Earth is 196,940,000 square miles. He said the circumference of the planet Earth is 24,896 miles, and all of us had to memorize this. The diameter of the earth is 7,926 miles. The area of land is 57,255,000 square miles. And the area of water is 139,685,000 square miles. He said the Pacific Ocean covers 68,634,000 square miles. And the Atlantic Ocean covers 41,321,000 square miles. The Indian Ocean covers 29,430,000 square miles. And the lakes and rivers cover 1 million square miles. And the hills and the mountains cover 14 million square miles. And the islands are 1,910,000 square miles. And the deserts are 4,861,000 square miles. And Mount Everest is 29,141 feet high. And the producing land is 29 million square miles. And the earth weighs 6 billion tons. A 6 followed by 21 zeros. The earth is 93 million miles from the sun. And the earth travels at the rate of 1,037 1/3 miles per hour. And light travels at the rate of 186,000 miles per hour. And sound travels at the rate of 1,120 feet per second. And the diameter of the sun is 853,000 miles, the diameter. Now, we're just students now, under a master teacher, and he asked us to study. Then he began to tell us about the distances of the planets and the life that is on the planets. Farrakhan Muhammad talking. See, I never met him. He taught Elijah from the cotton fields of Georgia, who only went to the 4th grade of school. Now you tell me, what kind of teacher is it? Now I want you to listen, damn it. You do too much naysaying, but I want you to hear today. You argue too damn much over what you have no knowledge of at all. It's time for you to sit down, shut up, and listen to what God has revealed. If you check what Master Farrakhan Muhammad said 71 years ago and the dimensions that the scholars give, theirs differed from Farrakhan Muhammad's. But every year, they have gotten closer and closer and closer, and now their computation is similar to that of Farrakhan Muhammad. Master Farrakhan Muhammad, the man who taught the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and came to raise us up from a dead level and make us rulers over those who once ruled us, not by guns and sticks, but by giving us a superior knowledge. Look at this. He says, Mars, the inhabited planet. Now, you didn't hear me. I'm going to say it again. See, he said this 71 years ago, before you knew anything about Mars. He called Mars an inhabited planet. 141,500,000 miles from the sun. And she travels 1,037 1/3 miles per hour, and here her diameter is 4,200 miles. Listen. He said Mercury is also an inhabited planet. And it's 36 million miles from the sun. Her diameter is 3,000 miles, and she travels at the same rate of speed, 1,037 1/3 miles per hour. He said Venus is 67,200,000 miles from the sun. And she makes one complete circle around the sun in 225 days, which is considered, I think it's really 225 years, which is considered the Venusian common year. All the planets travel at the same rate of speed. Now you think about that. No matter how close they are to the sun or how far they are from the sun, all of them travel at the same rate of speed. Now check this. He said Jupiter is 483 million miles from the sun. She takes 11 years and 9 months to make one complete circle around the sun. And her diameter is 88,700 miles. Here the diameter of the earth is 7,926 miles. Here's Jupiter, 88,000. Saturn, 886 million miles from the sun. Uranus, 1,782,000,000 miles from the sun. Neptune, 2,793,000,000 miles from the sun. And the fire planet Platoon or Pluto, 4,600,000,000 miles from the sun. Let me get to the board a minute. The planet, whoa. The planet Pluto was first seen what year? Pluto was first discovered in the year 1930. The same year that Master Farad Muhammad found you and me. How far is Pluto from the sun? 4,600,000,000 miles. You got the 4 and you got the 6. Malachi, meaning my messenger, the last book of your Bible, telling you who you should be looking for. Behold, I send my messenger from before my face. Behold, before the great and the dreadful day of the Lord, judgment, I will send you who? Elijah. What chapter does his name appear in? The 4th chapter, from the 4th to the 6th verse. Now here's the meaning. The first 4,000 years from Moses. Why Moses? Because both Bible and Holy Quran teach you that the man that God would send in the last days would be a man like unto Moses. How could you have a man like Moses unless you have a people like the children of Israel and a wicked ruler like Pharaoh and a bunch of crazy magicians? Excuse me, y'all, I can't help myself. I'm fired up. Look at this. So the first 4 represents 4,000 years from Moses. The second 4 represents after 400 years of bondage. And the 6 represents at the end of the 6,000-year rule of the white man. The fire planet Platoon, Pluto, 4,600,000,000 miles away. Yet, as far away as she is, the light of the sun reaches her and got her spinning at the same speed of all the other planets. 1,037 and a third miles per hour. What does it mean? That when the light of God touches you, you will start turning. And you'll be going at the same speed of all the people of wisdom on the planet, as long as you stay in the light, acknowledge the light, submit to the light, bow down to the light and the God who raised you and brought you the light. Now, okay. All right, Mr. Farad Muhammad came. They arrested him in Detroit for teaching us the knowledge of ourselves. He submitted. They took him to jail. He didn't have to go to jail. That's why Habakkuk said he had horns coming out of his hand, but there was the hiding of his power. He became obedient even unto death. Death means the white man. He represents death. And we live in the very shadow of death under the white man's rule. Talk back to me. I never met Mr. Farad Muhammad. I don't have to meet him. If I never see him, it's all right with me, because he made a man, a so-called unlearned man, and he put himself in that man and then went away. So when I met that man, I know that the Jesus is real. And the messenger said, listen, listen, listen. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, when they tricked our fathers out of Africa, the first slaves came to America on a ship named Jesus. And our fathers, when they got here, would wander down to the shore looking for that ship. And they would say, you can have all this world, just give me Jesus. That ship that would return me to my native land and people. That's where our spirituals were born. Swing low, sweet chariot, coming to carry me home. America ain't your home. This is a strange land. We're living among a strange people whose ways are alien to God and the prophets of God. So the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, little did our fathers know that it would be 400 years before the real ship Jesus came to get us. And the real ship Jesus is God in person, the Mahdi, coming to raise a Messiah. No, the Messiah did not live 2,000 years ago. Jesus of 2,000 years ago was a prophet. The Messiah is more than a prophet. He's a man in whom is the indwelling spirit, wisdom, knowledge, power of God himself. Therefore, he opens the eyes of who? The blind. He makes the deaf hear. He makes the dumb speak. He cleanses the leper. And he raises the dead to life by Allah's permission. He teaches them what foods to eat. Ain't no prophet taught you what foods to eat. That's why you look like you look. But every one of us that follow what Elijah Muhammad said, Master Farad Muhammad taught us how to eat. Our faces shine. You see the light of God on our countenance.
He takes an ugly so-called Negro and makes us into a beautiful people. Yes, I'm a beautiful man. Not because of the face, because what's on the inside is radiating through my eyes, through my skin. The Spirit of God is on me, and I'm anointed by God to preach glad tidings to the meek. This is why when you look at me, you can't tell my age. When I'm in the Spirit, my age turns backward. I soon will be 70 years old. Yeah, but my God, my messenger, the Messiah, put life in you. He taught me what foods to eat and what foods to store in my house. When he went to prison or jail, he sent for Elijah. When he sent for Elijah, when Elijah saw him behind bars, he looked at Elijah and said, "This is the price you will have to pay for the redemption of the people." He was so righteous and holy a man, yet he would come and suffer to make a demonstration for his servant Elijah, that if I, in who I am, could submit myself to this, that ain't even worthy to sit with the dogs of the flock. And this is the price you're going to have to pay if you want to free your people. The price is jail. The price is persecution. The price is being evil spoken of. And sometimes the price is death itself. But unless you're willing to pay the price, don't accept the assignment. And then he said to Elijah, if you don't accept the assignment, somebody else will. So why don't you go on and get the big name? And just like the book says, he said, "Here am I. Send me." I didn't know Master Farad Muhammad. I only saw his picture. But I listened to Elijah Muhammad teach me something about God, the original man, and how the Holy Quran and Bible are actually made. And that's what I want to talk to you about today. I want you to think either this is revelation or it's some made-up madness. But you tell me how made-up madness could raise a man from the dead. You tell me how made-up madness could take a fool like me and make me honored and respected all over the world. Tell me, how could made-up madness make Malcolm X? How could made-up madness make Muhammad Ali? Let's reason. Let's reason together. I'll take my Quran with me and I'll go back down. Erase the board, brother, please. We'll start again. I'm so happy that Allah spared my life. All praise is due to Allah. In this book, Quran, y'all all right? Allah introduces himself to us in this book. He's introducing himself to his servant Muhammad. This is a book authored by God. It's God talking to his servant, Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. He says, I, Allah, am the best knower. Of all the people that have knowledge, no one's knowledge can compare with his knowledge. For he is the best knower. I'm going to put that on the board. Allah is the best knower. Let's look at that. Allah is a noun, a proper noun. It's the true name of the one true God. I want to hear you say, Allah. Allah. That's right. Now, listen. If you want some results, I want you to try saying this name. Now don't, wait a minute now, dear Christians. Listen, dear Christians. We're not going to fall out now because I love you and I'm not trying to hurt nobody's feeling. I just want to get the truth over to you. Jesus never told the people to worship him. He never told the people to pray to him. He said, whatever you ask the Father in my name, he will give it to you. But what is the name of the Father? You can say Father, but all of us in here is Father, so most of us in here Father. And somebody say, Father, you say, yeah. And Jesus knew who the Father was. Allah is. This is a verb that represents a state of being. The best knower. Knower means one who possesses. Hope I spelled that right. Knowledge. I'm going to put the accent on one. You can't be a knower and not be in existence. The fact that he is, he exists. Best knower. This is a predicate adjective describing Allah. He's the best knower. Best is an adverb that modifies the adjective. Best is the superlative degree of the adverb. Some people have knowledge that's good. Some people have knowledge that's better. But Allah says, I, Allah. Now, he didn't just say Allah, he said I. That makes it even deeper. I is a personal pronoun. I Then he says, I, Allah. Now he's telling you who he is, who the I is. I am the best knower. So I got to change this is, because he wasn't a Negro who said, I is the best knower. Okay, now, when he taught Elijah, and I keep wanting to refer all Muslims to the Third Surah. It's wonderful. I mean, it's really just marvelous. I just want yeah. See? I don't mind repeating something because repetition drives the point home. Look, he says, he's talking to Mary, and he says, you know, you're going to have a baby. And Mary's a little taken aback. But she says, well, how can I have a son? And man has not yet touched me. Well, that's an intelligent question for any woman to ask. If an angel come to visit you and tell you, I bring you good news. Yeah, what's the news? Did I hit the lottery or something? Well, better than the lottery, your womb is going to carry a son. And he describes the son. He said, his name is Messiah. He's telling you his title, what work he's going to do. Not that his name is Messiah, but name actually means function. He's the Messiah, Jesus, your son, Mary, worthy of regard in this world and worthy of regard in the hereafter. And he is of those who are drawn nigh to Allah, Jesus. Wonderful human being. Mary's excited. She's going to have this kind of child. Then he tells Mary what the child is going to do. Now, in the coming weeks, I'm going to give you the history of Jesus as taught to us by the Honorable Elijah Muhammad from Master Farad Muhammad. Much of it is in metaphor, but we're going to go in and break the metaphor down. Because the history of Jesus, once you know that, you're free. Once you know Jesus, you're on your way. Nobody will ever take you down again if you really know him. Because it is Jesus that will give you victory over Satan. Now let's go back and find him. Then he said, he will speak to the people when in the cradle and when of old age. Now, I don't think the prophet who was here 2,000 ever reached old age. He died or was murdered. Some say 33. But Master Farad Muhammad said he was 36 years of age. And he was killed on the streets of Jerusalem. But we'll get into that in future time. How he died. Now look, now she's excited when the angel is talking to her, and so she says, how can I have a son? And a man has not yet touched me. He said, even so, Allah creates what he pleases. When he decrees a matter, he only says to it be. And it is. Now, this does not mean that Jesus is created any differently than you. Otherwise, he couldn't be an example for us. Allah says in the Quran, I created you in the womb. He wasn't just talking to Muhammad. Through the prophet, he was talking to all of us. All of us are the creation of God in the womb. So was Jesus. He said, and some of you are believers, and some of you are disbelievers. Is that right? Now, then he tells her, the angel says, Allah, God, will teach him, Jesus, the Messiah, the book, and the wisdom, the Torah and the gospel. Well, wait a minute. Jesus brought the gospel. Moses brought the Torah. Muhammad brought the book, Quran. But the Messiah, the book is already going to be here. The Torah is going to be here. The gospel is going to be here. The Quran is going to be here. Satan going to be here. But God said, I'm going to teach this Jesus, the book, Al-Kitab. That's the Quran. That means that he's going to explain to this man the utmost meaning of the book. That's the only way you can destroy Satan. Dear Muslims, this book is the power to end Satan's world. Why has not it ended Satan's world? Because you have not had the deepest understanding of this word so you could challenge Satan's world effectively. And this is why the Prophet Muhammad said that the sun would rise from where? Then the Prophet said to the Arabs, some of whom were racist. The Prophet is trying to clear them of some of their sick thinking. I'm talking about white Arabs who mocked Bilal, a black man. But the Prophet said to his followers, I want you to be able to accept leadership, even if it comes from someone whose hair is like dried raisins and his skin color like soot. Soot. He was telling the Arabs that in the last days, just as Bilal, an African, was used to call you to the faith after you had deviated from the faith, God is going to use an African people that are in the West. And when he raises them up, they will be able to say, not like the muezzin, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. You can shout it out in 4 directions, but I can say it better than any muezzin. I don't have to chant it. In my presence, in my being, I bear witness that Allah is the greatest. To the north, to the south, to the east, to the west. Anytime a child of slaves can stand up in America and unlock the truth of Bible, Quran, and make this white man understand what he never understood before, then we're saying God is the greatest. There is no God but Allah. All right. Now, let's tie this up. In this Quran, it tells us that God is one. Moses said the same thing. The Lord your God is one. Jesus never taught you about a Trinity. Wait now, come on. Let's reason. You got your Bible. Go get it. Go home, study it. Jesus never taught you God the Father, God the Son, God the Holy Ghost, and all three are equal. That did not come from Jesus. Can you prove it, Farrakhan? Sure. You can prove it yourself. Jesus said he was sent. And make him a messenger. Send him. Well, how could one who is sent be greater than his sender? Jesus never talked like that. When they called him good master, he said, why callest thou me good? None good but the Father. And when he was on the cross, listen to his words. Eli, Eli, lama sabachthani. My God. He wasn't talking to himself. My God, he asks, why have you forsaken me? So he knew he wasn't the power. The power was in the hand of God. He's a servant of God. Talking to God about, you got me out here hung up. I can't get myself down off of here. So when you do that, when you pray to Jesus and not to the one who sent him, you short-circuit the power of your prayer because you're being disobedient to Jesus in doing that. You say, oh Jesus, oh Jesus, oh Jesus. Oh Jesus, help me. Yeah, okay. But Jesus in a certain time couldn't help himself. He needed help from the Father. So now, brothers, sisters, if you really want to gain the power of your religion, pray to the Father in his name. And whatever you ask, it will be granted to you. Now you got it right. You got it right. Look, Moses said God is one. You say God is three. Now, if you divide one into three, you don't have one anymore. You have a fraction. So one part is 33 and a third, and the second part is 33 and a third, and the third part is 33 and a third, and you got to add all of these up to get this. It's against the law of mathematics to divide 3 into 1 and get 1. Isn't that true? Okay. Huh? Oh, well, I didn't. Thank you. Now, look at what he said. In this book, Quran, it also talks about Allah, but then it says Instead of I, it says we. Now, we have one God, but the book that gives us the best, clearest knowledge of God starts using pronouns that suggest more than one. And we raise mountains. It should have said, and I raised. It said, and we did this. Now, the next question is, we who? And we adorn the lower heaven with stars. We did this. Then it says, and we gave to man his hues and his colors. In the next few weeks, I'm going to talk about where color began, since you like to call yourself the colored people. I can't wait till next week. I'm so excited, brothers, sisters. I don't intend to go nowhere, you know. I may visit Africa once this year, but I'm not going no place. I'm going to stay right here with you, and inside the nation, we're going to raise up a nation that will obey. All right. Okay. Well, it says 4 o'clock. I probably, no. See, I don't want to wear you all out. I really want you to come back. And I mean, I really feel strong. Ah. And I thank Allah, you know. Now, I want you to look at this now. The Bible, now, Holy Quran says we, but it says Allah is one. Okay? Then the Bible, in the book of Revelations, talks about 24 elders. And these elders are sitting around a throne. And a 25th person is sitting on the throne. And he got a book in his hand. And none of the 24 is worthy to come and get the book. And he looked, and they were weeping and they were wailing because nobody could take the book. So a lamb that looked like it was slain from the foundation of the world walked up to the one on the throne, didn't ask for the book, he took the book. Now, in the coming weeks, we're going to talk about that book and the 7 seals. And when he opened the seals of the book, all kind of hell started breaking loose on the earth. Oh, man. Now, I never been to no theology school. I don't have any theology degree. But I met a man named Jesus, and he opened up my eyes. If the student is so bad, then what you think about the teacher, and the student can't even be worthy to unlace the shoes of the teacher. I'm going to say it again, because I want you to hear what I'm about to say. I said the student isn't worthy to unlace the shoes of his teacher. And if I saw my teacher today, if he didn't stop me, I would be bowing at his feet. I want you to think about this. Every student bows to his master. You can't get in the dojo and start your work except you pay respect to the master and bow. The book says every knee will bow, every tongue will confess. Now, who is these 24 elders, as they're called? Let me go to message to the black man here. If you don't have this book in your library, you better go get it. He says the Holy Quran and the Bible is made according to the circumference of our planet. A year for every mile. The circumference of our earth is 24,896 miles, approximately 25,000. We don't write history after it's done. The original man writes history, then walks into it. That's a big difference, brother. All you historians, you wait for the event. Then you write what happened. And you are called a historian. But what would you call somebody who could listen to you think and multiply your thinking by the actions that come from your thinking, and then cast that mathematical knowledge down the wheel of time for 25,000 years and write what will be done for 25,000 years in advance of it happening? Now look, when you read the Bible, you're reading something that was written or revealed about something that would happen long before it did happen. You can't say that Muhammad, peace be upon him, is a prophet and he prophesies nothing. This book, Quran, is full of prophecies of things that will happen. Many of them are already happening. So this book, Quran, this book, Bible, is a scripture. Of things that were to happen. Now he says, there are 24 of our scientists. These are black men. The Holy Quran calls them the exalted assembly that the devil was trying to steal a hearing on. And he found nothing waiting for him but a flame. This is a universal snooper, the white man. He trying to listen in on an exalted assembly, but they shut him out. Look at this now. One of these scientists acts as a judge or guard for the others. And 23 actually do the work of getting up or writing the future of the nation. And all is put into one book. It's called the mother of books. Al-Quran. The Bible. It's a history written in advance to last for 25,000 years. And whenever there's a portion of it that is to be fulfilled, one of the 12 major scientists reveals that portion to one from among the people. And that person is called a prophet or a messenger. They don't see the scientists. They hear the voice of God in their ears, speaking a language. Spirits don't speak language. The language is the vibration of the vocal cords with air passing through them, and the lips, the teeth, the tongue, the hard palate. These are the instruments that make sound. So if they heard the voice of God, they didn't hear a spirit. But God can actually speak to you, and you can hear him in your ear. Nobody hears him but you. People say you're crazy. Well, I see a lot of people say it, but God spoke to me. I got to watch them careful. You know, I know God can speak to you, so I got to watch you to see what he said. Or you may be a nut trying to get somebody to follow you into foolishness. Now look at this. Whenever that part of the great book is to be fulfilled, one from among the 12 will reveal that scripture to one from among the people. So what you have in the Bible and Quran is scripture. Scripture means a part of the writing. It's a script of writing from something original or from the great book. What you got is a piece of it. And I'm going into that piece in the next coming weeks. You don't have the whole 25,000 years. You just got a part from the year 9,000 to the 15,000 year of our calendar history. You only have 6,000 in these books. And both of these books, Bible and Quran, tell you that there's another thing coming. The Bible only takes you up to the time when the Lamb and the righteous are on a distant shore singing a new song. It don't tell you what the song was. And it does not admit you into the hereafter. This book stops at the destruction of the power of this world. The Holy Quran does the same. The Holy Quran does not admit you into the hereafter. The Holy Quran and the Bible says, eye has not seen, ear has not heard, nor has it entered the heart of man to conceive or perceive what lies beyond this world. So another book has to come that makes the next 10,000 years of history in this 25,000 year cycle. I'll get into that in future weeks by the help of Allah. Now let's look at this Bible and Quran. He said the number 24 scientists is in accord with the hours of our day and the measurement of the circumference of our planet around the equator and in the region of our poles, Arctic and Antarctic Ocean. Our planet is not exactly 25,000 miles in circumference. It is 24,896 miles. Our day is not 24 hours. It's 23 hours, 56 minutes, and 46 seconds. The change made in our planet's rotation at the poles is about 1 minute a year. And it takes 25,000 years to bring about a complete change in the region of the poles. These poles actually incline 23.5 degrees to the plane of its orbit. So the original black nation used 23 scientists to write the future of the nation for the next 25,000 years. And the 24th is the judge, or the one God, Allah. He said, Allah taught me that once upon a time, we made history to last for 35,000 years, when the earth and the moon were one planet. But one of our scientists wanted the people to speak one language and became disappointed that he couldn't get them to speak the same dialect or the same language. So he decided to destroy the earth and those of us who lived on it. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad said that Allah taught him that they drilled a hole into the then called moon and filled it with the type of explosives, dynamite, far greater than the dynamite used in this world. It's the same kind of dynamite, he said, that's used to bring up mountains, and we'll get into that in the future. And he blasted it off, thinking he's going to kill everybody. And a part of it was blasted off 36,000 miles, and the part that we are on fell 12,000 miles into the pocket that it now occupies. And the water that was on that part fell to this part. So that part called moon has no water, and the earth is now 3/4 water. And the moon constantly trying to get back the water that it lost is a sign of equality, because the moon equalizes.
the waters of the earth, keeping the water from drowning out civilization. Now you may say, oh, come on, Farrakhan. You're making this stuff up. It's a hell of a made-up story, then, isn't it? But now look, wait a minute. I'm not going to let you get away with that. This nigga making this stuff up. We'd have to be pretty smart to fix up something like this. Now let's look at this. Let's look at this. See, when Master Farrakhan came 71 years ago, you don't have the knowledge of how to prove him right or wrong. None of us. We either believe or disbelieve. But the Holy Quran says of Allah in Surah Al-Fatiha, He's Maliki Yawmiddin. He's the master of the day of judgment, requital. He's the master of the law of reaping and sowing. So if God is present, the devil works for him. Because he's the master of the day. Now, how is the devil working for God? Let me show you. See, now you say, Elijah, Muhammad, you're a liar. You never met with no God, and you ain't no messenger. And we're not going to pay you any attention. You have to believe in Islam the way the Holy Prophet brought it 1,400 years ago. Otherwise, we'll charge you with shirk or not being a true Muslim. We'll accept that. But we will prove in the long run that what Elijah Muhammad is teaching is absolutely correct. Now let me show you. Let me show you. See, the white man is like this. He already know God is a man. And you know it too. Because that's who you worship. You can talk all that Allah business until Bush calls. And the whole Arab Muslim world scared to death of the power of the government of the United States of America. You're frightened. Scared of the white man. So because we're afraid of him, he rules you by your fear. It's not his color. It's not him. It's your fear of him that causes you to submit to him. So the one thing that God has to do is take fear out of you in order to make a man out of us again. Now listen. The white man is a scientist. Now notice the progress that he made since 1930. That's what I want to get you to see. I was born in 33. And I remember when I look out the window, I would see them cranking up the cars. Now, some of you in here old like me, you remember those days. That was a long time ago. There was no telephone. They had just started learning something about flying.
said, look at this. We had a Model T Ford. We just coming out of the cowboy and Indian era. In the late 18th century, the beginning, or 19th century, and the beginning of the 20th century, all this progress was not here. In the lessons that Master Farad Muhammad gave Elijah Muhammad, it talks about the cracking of atoms. Now, I read it 40-some years ago when I became a Muslim, follower of Elijah Muhammad. I read all these things that he said. Now, I don't know how to refute it, but I believed in him. So when he told me this splitting of the moon took place 66 trillion years ago, I can't even imagine them kind of figures. I said, well, okay. I don't know how to prove that. Then he said to us, I want you to eat once a day. And he told us why. And then he told us to fast. 3 days out of a month. Don't eat no food. He said food keeps you here. Food takes you away. He said some of our old scientists live 400, 500, 600, 700, 800, 900 years. And you open your Bible, and it tells you so-and-so begat so-and-so, begat so-and-so, begat so-and-so, and so-and-so lived 500 years, so-and-so lived 600 years, Methuselah lived 969 years, and you can't make 100. It ain't something wrong with the scripture. Something wrong with us. California redwood trees, how long they live? Some of them live 1,000 years. You've got turtles that live 300 and 400 years. And you are the best of God's creation and can hardly make it to 60 or 70 without getting senile, losing your teeth, your hair, and everything. It's because you are under the shadow of death. And you don't know how to live, how to really live. I'm finished. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad now told us these things, and now the white man gets busy. He locked up the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and took all of the literature that Master Farad Muhammad gave him, took it to Washington and studied it and copied it and later brought it back to Elijah Muhammad. Now, and then they say, go ahead, Elijah, and teach your people. He said, but if you had come 20 years earlier, you would have been shot outright. But he came on time. He said, trying to get your people into Islam is like putting pants on an elephant. And Elijah Muhammad told him, I got one pant leg on already. Now, you are not privileged to the conversations between Elijah Muhammad and the government of the United States when they arrested him. They didn't arrest Elijah Muhammad because he was a draft dodger. They didn't want him out here teaching you who you were so that you would stay out of the army and wouldn't go fight your brother, the Japanese. So you went over there to fight, and the Japanese would capture you and tell you, same. He's trying to wake you up with your dumb self. What the hell are you doing over here fighting us? You should be turning them guns on that cracker from Alabama and Mississippi that's hanging you. But by the time you got to Korea and Vietnam, even in Korea they would let you go. I've heard these stories. I don't really know the truth, but some of the brothers that came back, they said, yeah, man, they killed the whites. But they would let us go and tell us, no, see, no. You think he's trying to have sex with you. He's just telling you we're the same. We come to eat this man up. Go ahead. And by the time you got to Vietnam, they say, hell, they should have known something by now. Kill them all. And if you go now, you will not come back. And those of you that come back, you'll be in such bad shape, you will wish they had killed you over there. There's no future for you in the armed forces of the United States of America. I'm saying it, and you can tell the white man that I said it. I don't give a damn. There is no future for you in the armed forces of white America. He's going down, and he's going down in war. And he needs your dumb, sorry black self to fight for him. Now you just get your behind out of his army, and let's come on into the army of God, and let's make a life for ourselves. If he call you, tell him I woke up. I was asleep. Tell him, I was asleep, I woke up. I can't go with you. But I've sent you greetings, and I send you back your greetings. I ain't going nowhere. They said, well, nigga, you going to jail. I've been in jail all my life. You ain't frightening me with jail. If you don't stand up, you let fear get you, you're gone. The Holy Quran, let me read it to you. Let me say what it says here. It's time to go now. Look here. Surah Ibrahim. And the devil will say, when the matter is decided, surely Allah promised you a promise of truth. And I promised you, then failed you. And I had no authority over you, except that I called you and you obeyed me. So blame me not. Blame yourselves. I cannot come to your help, nor can you come to my help. And I deny your associating me with Allah. Surely for the unjust is a painful chastisement. Now I'm telling you, brother, the white man don't have no authority over you now, except what you give him because you just scared. If he called you to go into service and you tell him I'm not coming, he gonna start looking in rule books. How am I gonna deal with this nigga? He ain't even answering me. He called me. During the Korean War, he called me. Not me. I ain't going nowhere. I went there with a friend of mine. He said, you going, Gene? I said, not me. I said, you going? Not me. When I told him my religion is Islam, man. I can't fight for no infidel. Talk like that, man. See what happens. But I mean, don't talk like that and be like this. I can't fight for you. Summon up some strength. Even if you're a donkey, talk with a man's voice. I ain't going no place. The hell you mean you ain't going? You're an American citizen. I said, who made me that? According to what I understand, I can't be a citizen. Let me get out the dictionary and show you what it says about what an American is. An American, brother, is somebody from Europe, not one of the members of the aboriginal people of the earth. That was the original definition of what an American is. Now, they make you that now. You was a second-class citizen, and before that you was a slave. Now you think you really a citizen. And you can vote now. Yeah, sure you can vote. When he get tired of you, he take away your vote, take away the man that you voted for. You voted for Gore, didn't you? The Supreme Court settled that argument, didn't they, brother? And so, my brothers and my sisters, in conclusion, I thank Allah for the mind that He put in white people. I know he's wicked, but he's also the greatest proof of the reality of God. There is no effect without a cause. And if the effect is real, the cause is also real, though maybe unseen. You understand? When it started raining and thunder and lightning in the old South, hurry, get in the house. God talking to his children. You scared of lightning, scared of this, scared of that. The white man's different. He's studying. So what produces that? During the Vietnam War, he learned how to seed the clouds and make rain, right? The Bible tells you about a beast that was so powerful, he brought down fire from heaven. It's the white man. See? Hiroshima, Nagasaki. Now neutron bombs. Kill everything but leave property. Because the property is more valuable than you. So they find a way to kill human beings and save buildings. So the white man now went up and he brought down some fire. Learning how to split the atom and harness the energy of the atom. Learning how to split the hydrogen atom. Look at him now, brother. Now he developed some contraption. Put it out there in space. Going around the earth like a satellite. Right? Then we looked at him and said, boy, look at that white man. He's a scientist. So we singing, by the light of the silvery moon. The white man said, I'm going there. You sing about it, I'm going there. So he uses his mathematical skill and he puts a dude on the moon. Didn't he? They prancing around on the moon. The messenger said he could never take that suit off. He got to stay in that suit because the first thing that would happen is your eyes would pop out because it draws water. So you keep your hood on, you know what I mean? Keep your suit on. But you up on the moon. So while you up on the moon, you peeping around. Say, let's get some rocks and take some stuff back. So they brought the rocks back. And they said, these rocks resemble the rocks of the earth. And they looked at the great valleys, and they said it must have had water on here at one time. They brought the rocks back and they smelled gunpowder on the rocks. Now, little Elijah didn't go up there. Little Elijah told us what was up there that he learned from Master Farad Muhammad. Now the white man went up there and came back and bear witness that the moon and the earth was one planet at one time. Our lessons teach us that the so-called Native Americans were from Asia, came across the Bering Straits. When you could walk from Asia right into North America through the Bering Straits, and they came down the western side of America, and then some of them went up in toward Canada and came across America, then went down into Central America and South America. When did this happen? In our lessons, 16,000 years ago. Now the white man found some artifacts out there on the West Coast. He said, man, almost the same time the native people came. We was already here, brother. We traveled this whole planet and picked the best part for ourselves. We were over here, but we settled on the Nile Delta, rich area, all in what you call the Holy Land or the Middle East. The people that are over there now, they're not the original inhabitants of that place. The original inhabitants of that which is called the Holy Land are black people, brother. The original Arabs are black. The original Jews are black. The original Chinese and Japanese are black. We'll tell you how the brown man got here, how the yellow man got here, how the white man got here. You come back a few weeks from now. And then when we finish with you, then you go and check it out. Elijah Muhammad told us eat one meal a day. Doctors say eat 3 meals a day. Elijah Muhammad said whenever the scientists want to end their life, they start eating 3 meals a day. The doctors are telling you eat 3 meals a day. So look at you. Look at your stomach. Look at your skin. Look at you. You really look like hell. Because you living in hell. And you have mastered the ways of hell. Yeah. You drink. You smoke. Sometimes you're hardly in your teens. You puffing on cigarettes. And the white man love it when you like this. And they know you're killing yourself. That means he don't have to kill you. You just that dumb, you kill yourself. Now he brings some guns in your neighborhood and makes some crack cocaine for you. You're happy now, right? Making a little money selling your people drugs, right? Killing each other over drug territory, right? Somebody wearing the wrong color, giving the wrong gang sign. Kill them, huh? Because you don't know your brother. You don't know that you're killing yourself, your own brother. So the white man don't even have to do it no more. He got you doing his dirty work for him. But I got news for you. I'm going to show you just how easy it is with the help of Allah in the next coming weeks for Allah to destroy America in 12 hours by the clock. He can wipe this thing out in less than 12 hours. Now I'll send you to the library and I'll show you, I'll bring you books on the weapon that he will use. This man is through. And God has come after you, black man. And he wants you to get out of the white man's name. Don't you walk around here no more calling yourself Mr. Johnson, Mr. Green, Mr. Bush, Mr. Roundtree, Mr. White, Mr. Williams. That's not your name. That's the name of your former slave masters, and you go down with him if you're going to hang on to his name. That's a tie that he has on you. Give it up. Take one of the names of your own people and the names of God, since you are direct descendant of God. So now the white man sent a contraption to Mars. And Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, you know, if they don't want to be seen, they'll hide themselves from it. So he sent his little contraption up and tried to get a signal back. Signal cut off, man. He sent another one up. It moves about on the land and everything. Guess what? Now they say they have tunnels up under the ground. And they believe that there's life on Mars. But according to our lessons, which we had 71 years ago, it said Mars, the inhabited planet. So who is this Farrakhan Muhammad? Elijah Muhammad said he spoke 16 languages. And he wrote 10. One brother said, I know some people that speak 24, 30 languages. Yeah. But the messenger also said he pictured and extracted the language of the people on Mars. Can your man do that? Say, he spoke the language of the apes and knew the language of the birds. So he could actually direct nature to attack you. That's why the white man can come up with the birds, the movie. Because the birds start acting like an army. That's God's army, brother. He turned birds loose on your raggedy behind. What you gonna do about that? Snow, wind, rain. They said the other day, hail fell, and it was the size of bricks, big bricks falling out the sky. Who said that? Elijah Muhammad said that day was coming. The white man had 3 rats. He fed one of them 1 meal a day. Fed another one 3 meals a day. And another one eat any time he want to eat. It's an experiment with rats. The one that ate any time he wanted to eat all day long died first. The one that ate 3 meals a day died second. And the one that ate 1 meal a day not only outlived him, but he had a youthful appearance. See, the white man is proving that Allah came. What else you doing, white folks? Elijah Muhammad said, we went into the laboratory, into the life germ of the original man. And we saw in the life germ another human being. Now the white man is cloning. He didn't just start that. The knowledge of all of this, Master Farrakhan Muhammad brought it and gave Elijah Muhammad. Now you can laugh. You can make mockery. You can say we're not true Muslims. Whatever you want. But when our Allah get finished with America, when our Allah get finished raising this black man up, the whole world will know there is no God but Allah, who came in the person of Master Farad Muhammad, and the Honorable Elijah Muhammad is the Messiah, the messenger to the children of Israel. And I thank you for listening. Assalamu alaikum.
Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar.
Thank you. Brothers and sisters, could you take your seat for just a minute? I want to ask you a question. Don't leave just yet, brothers and sisters. I know I kept you long. How many of you are here today for your first time? May I see your hands? Oh, thank you. Thank you for coming. Thank you. Thank you. Downstairs. Those of you here for your first time, how many of you believe that what you heard taught today, that it is the truth and is good for us as a people? May I see your hands? Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Now, those of you who are here for your first, second, or third time, I want to know if you would be willing to unite on the side of this truth, and let's go after our people and make a great people out of our people. How many of you would like to unite with us on the side of this truth? May I see your hand? Raise them up high. Thank you. Then, I want the ushers in the aisles. I want to have the privilege of saying a few words to you. I want all the brothers to come right down front here. All the sisters, you come right on down front and stand right here. Come on, brothers. Come on, sisters. Don't be bashful. I don't want them in a line. Bring them all down. Come right on down front. Come right on. No line. No line. Just come right on down. Come right on down, brothers. Come on down, sisters. Open this up. I don't want a line. Come on down, sisters. And if you're downstairs in the low auditorium, come on up. If you're over in the gymnasium, come on over. Now, brothers and sisters, come on. Just come right on up close. You don't have to be bashful.
Come right on down. Come right down. Come right on down. There's no room for you. Okay.
Well, now those of you, listen carefully. The step that you have made just now is a big step. Tomorrow night, to the men, I'm going to be at the men's class tomorrow night. And I want to show you that you, in this step, have united with your people over 1,200,000,000 of your people in Africa, in the Middle East, in Asia, in the Isles of the Pacific. You have brothers and sisters all over the world. All I'm asking of you that want to unite on the side of this truth, I would love to shake your hands and welcome you to the Nation of Islam. But I'm a little exhausted now, and to shake everybody's hand would just, it's a pleasure, but I'm going to ask Minister Ishmael, he's a young man, if he would, in my stead, shake your hands. Give me that pledge card, please, sister. Now, all I'm going to ask you to do is fill this out. And here's all it says. I, would you say your name? What is your name? Say, Alhamdulillah. Don't say your last name, because that's not your name. Let's say your first name. What is your? Thank you. If it's Linda, if it's Brenda, if it's John, whatever it is. Say, I. Repeat this after me. I pledge to strive to love my brothers and sisters as I love myself. From this day forward. Now, I don't want you to say that, but I'm saying this to you. From this day forward, every black man or woman that you see in any part of the earth, that is your family. And you must begin to see every black person as your brother and your sister and treat them like that. Okay? Second, I, say your name, pledge to strive to study to improve myself spiritually, mentally, morally, physically, and economically for the benefit of myself, my family, and my people. The most important thing after God is your family. So even if you have brothers and sisters that you have a problem with, go home and make peace inside your families. In the end, you will always find your family will be there for you. All you have to do is go to a funeral parlor and see who comes out when the dead are buried. It's the family that grieves. So whatever you learn, you share it with your family. Okay? All right. Third, I, say your name, pledge to strive to build schools, hospitals, housing, businesses, to buy farmland, and enter into international trade and commerce for the good of myself, my family, and my people. All your brothers and sisters in Africa that are coming up now, they want to do business with the black people of America. So the faster we can rise into knowledge and clean ourselves up, your brothers and sisters over there are waiting for you either to go there and live, share your knowledge with them, and they with us. So from across the Atlantic, we see a hand going to shake the hand and hold the hand of the black brother in America to the black brother in Africa, and all your black brothers and sisters in the Caribbean. That's your family. You have 80 million black people in Brazil. That's your family too. All of them came from Africa and were deposited in the Caribbean, in Central America, and South America. Last, I, say your name, pledge to strive to give of myself, my time, my energy, my talent, and whatever I can spare of my finance to accomplish the above said. This is a pledge. And in a pledge, brothers and sisters, all we're saying is we're going to try our best to live up to our word. Because without a word, you have nothing. But if I give you my word, you expect me to live up to my word, and that's what produces trust, brotherhood, and love among us. So when you leave here today, I want you to really feel that you've come to a place where we earnestly love you. I mean real love. That kind of love that I and we are willing to give our lives for you. It's easy to die for what you love. And when you start loving yourself as a black person and knowing that your color is not a badge of shame, next week when you come, I'm going to teach you the origin of blackness. Where did it come from? Why are you black? Are you black because God cursed you? Or are you black because you are the original people of the earth? Yeah. Now we're going to get into it. See, and the more you know yourself, the more you fall in love with yourself. Then every time you see your brother, you see in another part of yourself. So when I look at you, I'm looking at me. And because I've learned to love me, I already love you. Sisters, your children, I feel like they are our children. So I am your brother, you are my sister. So your children, I'm their uncle. So if you don't have a husband at home, all these brothers is the uncle of your sons and the uncle of your daughters. So you bring your young men here, and we'll try to make them into men that you will be proud of. So, brothers and sisters, you take these cards, and do you have a place where they can fill these out? Yes, sir. You're going to take them to the masala downstairs. Okay. Pardon me, sister? Yes. Yes, they will. See, but to take shahada is not a hypocritical thing. When you say, and you're Muslim, and I want to show you first why you are really Muslims. Nobody made you that but God. You are born that. But I want to show you that so that when you take what is called the shahada, where you bear witness that there is but one God, and his name is Allah, and you bear witness that Muhammad is his messenger, that's what brings you into the fold of Islam. But I think you should say that when you have more and more knowledge of it, so that you won't say from your lips what is not in your heart. Okay? So, if you will accept our assistant minister, one of the sons of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, to shake your hand, and then we'll go downstairs into the masala, the prayer room, where we will sign these. And then I want the brothers now to meet me here tomorrow night, 7:30. This men's class. Okay? Yes, but here's our brother from Nigeria. He's just passing by, but he came to visit us today. And thank you, thank you, thank you. That's true. It's true. It's true. It's true. They changed the name of the street in Nigeria, in Lagos, where the American embassy is, to Louis Farrakhan Street. So that anytime somebody sends a letter to the American embassy, they got to write American Embassy, Louis Farrakhan Street. So look, and all of you that are here, if you will bear patiently, we're going to have prayer in just a minute and dismiss everyone. But I want to thank all of you from the depth of my heart for coming and allowing us to share what we've learned from the Honorable Elijah Muhammad with you. And there's so much more. We've just touched the surface. So be sure to be here next Sunday. Same time, same station. Minister?
Thank you, sir.
From Ghana. Alhamdulillah. From Nigeria. Yes, brother. Thank you. Thank you. Is our brother from Ghana and our brother from Nigeria.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Well, whenever you can make it. Yes, sir. This is your home. Yes. How are you, sister?
She told me about it.
But I'm very glad that you came. Thank you, sister, for bringing your brother. May Allah bless you all. May I please be excused? Absolutely. Minister Ishmael will handle this from here. Would you come and shake his hand? He's standing in my place. Soldier.
Minister Louis Farrakhan. Come on, Chicago. Show your love for the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. Oh, what a wonderful day it has been today as we come and once again the gates open. And when the gates swing open, I'll walk in. We want you to remember